Hi guys, and thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Marilyn, and if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. In today's video, we're going to make a super simple project that I hope turns out to be super cute, and it's going to be a wall hanging for a little girl's bedroom. So to make my project, I have some purple cast acrylic, I have some pre-coated wood. I'm going to use a CO2 laser because it cuts through acrylic so beautifully, but because this is a dark opaque acrylic, you could actually use a diode laser for this as well. Also, if you don't want to use acrylic, you could use 2 pieces of wood. That would give you the same effect. Now my wood is pre-coated, but sometimes I just buy large pieces of wood like this from the Dollar Tree store or pieces of wood from Home Depot, and I'll either stain them or paint them myself. I also have this 3M double-sided masking or double-sided adhesive, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to use it yet, but I have this frame. In addition to these things, I have my computer and a design that I found on Creative Fabrica that almost did all the work for me. So let's start by jumping onto Creative Fabrica. I'm going to show you that design. I'm going to take it into Silhouette Studio Business Edition. I'm going to customize it. Then we'll be ready to cut. Now I want to show you the full process, but I'm going to try to make this pretty brief, pretty quick. I'm currently in Creative Fabrica. That's a site where I get a lot of my designs. You can buy designs one by one, or you can get a membership. I have a membership where I pay $3.99 each month. And actually it's billed on a yearly basis, but it comes out to $3.99 a month. I love it, and this is one of the only subscription-based programs I'm in. So I am going to go to my profile and look at my downloads because I found this within the last couple days and I've already been playing with it. Here's what it looks like. It is the full alphabet with different types of ballerinas on each letter. And each letter actually comes, most of them come with 2 or 3 options. Now apparently the designer made this to have full names, but I'm just going to do an E and then I'm going to add the name Everly to it. So let's go ahead and say download. And then I can open my recent downloads right here. You can see I already opened it within the last few days. Let's go ahead and click on this. And then all I want to do is take over the letter to my desktop that I need. I can always go back to Creative Fabrica and get this again. Now I think I like this one, so let me just drag it to my desktop. Oh wait, that's a PDF. I do not want a PDF. I want an SVG. So an SVG makes a great cut file. It stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. And so you can resize it and make it large and you're not going to lose quality. So here's the SVGs. And which one do I want? I think I want this one here. So I'll just drag it to my desktop. All right, we are done with Creative Fabrica, so let me go ahead and pull up Silhouette Studio Business Edition. Now I use Silhouette Studio Business Edition, and I use the Business Edition because that's the only one of the Silhouette softwares that lets you save your designs as SVGs. I don't cut with a Silhouette cutting machine, I cut with a Cricut or a Romeo or a laser, so I do need to be able to save my designs as SVGs. So I'm going to go up to File, Merge. It shows me what's on my desktop. That's just what mine defaults to. Here is my letter E right here. You can see it's 2 layers. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'll select it and I'll say OK. And that came in really large. Let's go ahead and move these up. And I'm going to make them smaller. To do that, I'm just going to go ahead and select both items at the same time. And actually, they're not that large. My canvas must be small. But I want to take these down to somewhere around 6 inches tall. Okay, that looks good. Let's see what size this canvas back here is set to. I'm going to go to Page Setup. And I'll just increase that to a 12 by 12. Or approximately 12 by 12. Okay, so my back layer is going to be white. So I want to change this to a similar color. Because white's going to be really hard to see on here, we're going to go right to where it says Fill Style, and I'll just do a light gray. This is our back layer. That's going to be what I cut out of white wood. This is our top layer. Okay, it's wanting to go behind it, so let's select it, go up to Object, and let's see. We'll go to Arrange, and then Bring to Front. So now I can just drag it over here. I'm going to use purple, so with it still selected, let's just select a nice purple. I can tell it's not lined up quite right. I see the little finger or hand coming out from behind. So let's select both items. Let's go up to Object, Align, and then we're going to center it vertically and horizontally. And now it lines up just fine. Now, for purposes of this, it wouldn't matter if they don't line up fine. I just have to line them up when I glue them together. So I want to go ahead and customize this just a little bit more, and I want to put Everly's name on it. So I'm going to go right over here to the text tool. Let's click on it. Click onto the screen. Now I'm going to type Everly. I'll click off of it. Back on it. Now I can change it purple. Now to find my font, right now it's set to Arial. If I want to preview fonts and see what it would look like, I can click right over here. I can type Everly. And then right up here I can type the font I'm thinking about using, and I'm going to use Farmhouse. So you see right here what it looks like. All right, let's go ahead and close this out. And let's move this up here. We're going to have to do some adjustment. We're going to have to get a little creative with this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it a little bit. And you know what? I think I'm going to change that to black just to make it easier to see what's what. Okay. I think I also want to put a little bit of an offset on that. But before I do that, I want the E and the R to touch. So with it selected, let's go up to Object and Ungroup. I also want to get rid of that red line around it. So I'll go up to Panels, Line Style, click on this second one right here, and then change it to Transparent. I like working with letters so much better that way. All right, let's go ahead and blow this up a little bit. And I'm going to select the R, hold the Shift key down, add the L, hold the Shift key down, add the Y, let up on the Shift key, and just move this over until they barely touch. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let me see if I can move this Y a little bit more like that. Okay, now I want to go ahead and make an offset of this because this has some very fine lines, and I want those lines to be just a little bit chunkier. So I'm going to go ahead and select all the letters in Everly, holding down the Shift key as I select each one. And then I'm going to go ahead and group those together. So I'll go up to Object and down to Group. To add an offset, I'm going to go right here where it says Offset. If you don't see it, go up here to Panels and then click on Offset. And I'm going to click on this left side, and that's a huge offset. I want a tiny offset. Let's see what 0.05 would look like. So I type in 0.05 and hit the return button. And that is still way too large. Let's go 0.01. That's about what I want. Let me try 0.02. Okay, I think I like this. So let me click Apply. Let me get the black part of my design out of the way so we can see it. Okay, I got the E, hold the Shift key down. And let me try to get Everly in there. There we go. But now I need to get rid of that gray one, so I'll click on it again. And I think I'm good. I think I have Everly just by itself. And we're going to turn that one black as well. Okay, I'm happy with that. I lost a little bit in there, a little bit of detail in there, but I can live with that. And that's pretty small, so if I want to, I can go over here and use the edit points Let's zoom in. And what I could do is I could just edit this so that that little hole in there is bigger. And I think that's probably a little bit better. Now I need to move this around so it looks right. And I really want, okay, let me go back. I'll go to the select tool to get rid of the points. And then I really want to move this over so that it is connecting with this outside frame. Now I'll move the E over. And I think that looks pretty good, other than E needs to be smaller. Because once you weld it to the background, you wouldn't even be able to tell it's an E. So we'll make it smaller, mainly shorter. And just a little bit shorter yet. And I can actually have it touch the V also. Let's just see what this would look like. So I'm going to select the purple layer, hold the shift key down, add Everly to it. Then I'm going to go right up here to Object, Modify, and Weld. So I think I'm ready to save my design. We'll get rid of this one. And before I save the design, I just need to make sure it's really at the size I want it. Now to save this, I'm going to go right up here to File, Save As. Then I'm just going to call it E and Everly. And then I'll save it as an SVG to my desktop. Now that I know the size of this, I can go ahead and prepare my materials. In particular, I know now what size to cut that 3M double-sided adhesive to. Based on the measurements of my design, I cut out a piece of the 3M double-sided adhesive to attach to the back side of the purple acrylic that I'm using. This way, after I cut out the acrylic, the 3M will attach it to the wood layer instead of having to use a messy glue. The 3M is a bit expensive, but I love to use it when working with acrylic. Now that I have my adhesive on the back, let's go ahead and open the Xtool software. It's right here. It's called Xtool Creative Space, and I already have my Xtool turned on so that we'll be able to connect to it when I open this. So I'll just double click on it. And I'm going to come right up here, click on New Project. And because it is connected successfully, you can see my material right here. Now I put a star up in this corner to note that I wanted my design to be pushed up to the top and to this corner. Then this line indicates roughly where my 3M ends there, and this line indicates roughly where it ends here. So to bring in my design, I'm going to click right up here on the image, and then it's right here, so I'll select it and I'll say open. Okay, so I think they must be one on top of each other, and once I put my cursor over it, I can see that they are. Let's click right here where it says ungroup. Now I should be able to pull those apart. And what I'm going to cut first is actually the front layer, so the ballerina. We're going to place it up in that top right corner. And what I need to do is I need to let my machine know not to cut this out yet. So I'm going to select it, and where it says output, I'm going to click that off. Let's go back to this one, and I'll go right up here where it says unknown material. Let's select that. Let's just search for acrylic. I'm not sure if they're going to have purple in here or not, but that's okay. I'll use this 1/8 inch red acrylic for my settings. So we'll select it and we'll say confirm. Now it's just warning me because acrylic cuts more slowly. If there's any old wood or anything in the bottom of my machine, you need to take that out because it could catch fire. So I'll just say got it. Notice I'm on engrave right now, so let's go over here and select cut. And it is showing me that my power is going to be 80% and a speed of 13. The last thing I want to do before I actually cut it is I want to do a reality check. So there's a couple things I can do. I can go up here to the measuring tool. I'm going to say aim to measure. Notice it thinks it should be about 0.118. So let's say aim to measure, and let's click right here. And now I have the measurement for my material. Now I want to go right here to close shot. Now the X tool P2, and I think the P3 also, but I'll have to check on that. But the X tool P2, P2S, they have a second camera right by the laser head. So there's a top camera that gives you the large view, and then if I go ahead and I tell it to use that second camera, let me show you what happens. So you click on it, and then you go down here and you click where you want it to focus on. When I click here, that laser head's going to move to this area so the camera on that laser head can get a good picture of it. Okay, so I noticed that looks good, but her hand is going off over here. So let's go ahead and select it, and with my down arrow on my keyboard, I'm just going to move this down until that hand won't be cut off. Let's do a close shot one more time right down here. Okay, everything looks good, so now I'm ready to say process. This just shows me a preview to make sure that what you think is going to be cutting is actually going to cut. And this has saved me multiple times. So I love this feature, but it looks good, so I'll click on Start. Now, for my machine to actually start, I have to go over and press this button. Before I do that, I'll turn on my filter. That cut really nicely. I don't need to reprocess it, so I'll say OK. And then for now, I can just delete that. So let's hit refresh, and then you're going to see the white wood in there. Okay, so I'm just going to move this into place. And that looks like just about the perfect amount of wood for this project. Now I'm a little close here, so on my keyboard I'm going to hit the right arrow. And then I need to turn the output on. I need to click on the cut feature. And I'll go up here and I'll find something else. We're not cutting acrylic, we're cutting wood. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Let's do this 1/8 inch basswood. I'm pretty sure this is what I've used before and it worked out well. So I'll select it and I'll say confirm. Now for a reality check, let's do that close shot view again. Let's look here. That's perfectly fine. And then let's click it again and let's look right here. Okay, it barely fits, but it fits. So let me click on this again so I can see it's going to cut at 80% power and a speed of 25. So let's say process. It's showing my E, so I'll click on start. And then just like last time, I'm going to turn on my exhaust fan or my filter, and then I'll press this button right here. Because the sound on this part of the video is bad, I forgot to plug in my microphone. I'm going to voice over this part and just explain what I'm doing. First, I removed the protective paper that was on the front side of the acrylic. You don't even have to leave this paper on while you cut. It's simply there to protect the acrylic until you use it. After I removed the protective film, I removed the covering that was still on the 3M double-sided adhesive on the back. So after I got both of those things removed, it was time to stick the acrylic to the white-coated wood. Now I tried something that I thought would really help me line the acrylic and the wood up, and I used a piece of parchment paper. The issue is, once you stick the acrylic to the wood, with that 3M adhesive on it, it is extremely hard to move. So I put the piece of parchment paper between the two layers, thinking that would make it easier. Let me tell you, it really didn't. So you just have to be very careful to have your acrylic in the correct place before you let it rest on the wood, or whatever you're putting it on. If you have any suggestions for me on doing this part of the process, let me know what they are in the comments section. So here's the final product, and I think it turned out so adorable. Now, I don't think it looks very good on the frame I originally planned to use, so I'll have to find something else. But for now, this is what we have. Now, if you're interested in an X-Tool product, I'm going to have a link in the video description below. I'll also have a coupon code in case you want to save a little money. Also, I'll let you know about the other products that I used. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until my next video, bye-bye.